Hi and welcome back to Making It Creative Careers Unlocked, and today I'm at the incredible streetwear brand Lazy Oaf, and I'll be chatting to Gem, the founder, all about her brand, which is inspired by youth nostalgia and that spirit of non-conformity. Right up my street. Let's go. Gem, what an absolute gem that it is, sat here in your wonderful studio. Like, this is any independent designer and big designer's dream to have a beautiful space like this. Look at the sun flooding in, big open space, all your crew around, lots of cool, my eyes, I just can't stop looking. I'm like, woo, going dizzy. It's fantastic. So thank you for having me today, and I want to know all about who you are, what you are, where'd you come from, tell me where it all began.
I guess we're going to have to travel back in time quite a bit, but as I was kind of like trying to decide and work out what I wanted to do when I was a grown-up back at school, I was obsessed with art. Like, that was my calling. I loved writing, but I wasn't super academic, and like all my skills and my time, in fact, kind of like the rooms that I hid in the most were like the art rooms. For me, it was like, that was going to be my direction, but I had absolutely no idea what the opportunities were. I don't come from a creative family. It was quite difficult to kind of like figure all of that bit out, right?
Absolutely.
Which is always a bit of a problem, because like, we're not all experts in industries.
That's correct.
When you're 17.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, when you're from a family that aren't necessarily creative, they don't quite understand your thought processes and how you want to, you know, elaborate and explore and expose all that crazy genius, you know, creative ideas in your brain. So at any point, did you feel like a bit of a pushback on your creative narrative? And, you know, was there anybody or something that kind of inspired you to take control and go and get that creative education?
My parents have always been really supportive.
Amazing.
which is really great, because both me and my brother are really creative. But it was my school that pushed back on me when I was like trying to sort of decide whether I was going to go to university or what I was going to do. And it was my non-art teachers questioning my choices, saying, well, what are you going to do with a degree in creative
I'm
studies
so bored of that question.
Art?
Yeah.
Exactly. It definitely made me question it. And I was sort of like, but this is what I love. My mum and dad run a pub, so you get a mix of characters in there that do all sorts. And I remember speaking to a guy who was an artist. I'm worried about my future. And he said, like, next time you face that teacher, ask them who designed their tie, who designed the chair that they're sitting on, who designed the room that we are in.
Anything that you see, breathe, eat, hear, anything has been designed by someone. Where did you study and how did you get into, you know, your brand is very much known for its print and its humorism and youthful, like subculture, style, non-conformity. You know, where did that come from?
Well, I eventually went on to do a foundation year in London. I got to play in lots of different kind of like creative areas, which was like really fun. And I found something that I love.
Yeah.
Textile design was something that I ended up pursuing at Nottingham Trent University.
Okay.
And I specialised in print because I loved drawing and creating kind of like silly characters. I did have a moment where I was like, am I on the right course? I think I'm an illustrator, but then found like a way to marry those two elements together by like basically ending up printing t-shirts for mates and then kind of creating kind of like prints and patterns that sort of brought in all of these influences. And, like character design and streetwear, and particularly with a big inspiration from like Japan into what I was doing.
So the brand's called Lazy Oaf.
Yeah.
What does that where's that even come from? Tell me, what does that mean? I love it.
Oh,
it's so unique.
I had left university, and like in that panic of like, I don't know what a job is going to be like, how quickly I'm going to get a job or anything like that. So I kind of had an opportunity to do a market stall and sell some product. And I hadn't got a brand name, but I knew I could print t-shirts. And I had found a lot of vintage magazines that I could put on this market stall that would help me kind of like, so I'd had like a mix of products. So I had gone back to university after I'd finished and kind of bribed my print technician to make some screens for me so I could print some stuff up.
Amazing.
So when the screens were going into a making process, I was like, I've got to have a brand name.
Yeah.
What's it going to be? So I literally made that decision in 5 minutes.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I think the t-shirt's probably going to be menswear. So it's a choice between Fat Trucker and Lazy Oaf, and I picked Lazy Oaf.
I love it.
And thank God I did, because I don't want to be called Fat Trucker for 24 years.
Wise decision there, Gem.
Yeah, but Lazy Oaf kind of sums up sort of my personal interest in like lo-fi culture, my approach to life at that time.
Yeah.
And the way that I draw and create is kind of like very naive and kind of like not perfect.
Yeah,
so I
totally.
needed something that captured that.
On that point, Gem, talking about this kind of this slow pace and, you know, slowing down fashion, sustainability is a huge thing right now. Where do you see Lazy Oaf fitting in that kind of narrative? How do you cope with the pushbacks from fashion when it is such a fast-paced culture and a fast-paced industry?
The demand for newness is so strong that people are looking and searching for stuff that they haven't seen all the time, right? So the rise of fast fashion or something that feels fresh and new is how you're going to kind of like gain that interest and capture someone's time and potentially money.
Of course.
And for us, it's sort of like, it's really hard to compete and show up in that world. So like we do try and have newness, and we counterbalance that with like, but we don't need volume. So
once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, once it's gone, it's gone. We kind of like create less than like 400 products a year.
Obsessed.
Versus like,
that's amazing.
You know, someone that is a fast fashion retailer is producing over 1,000
a day, probably.
Yeah, a week. Yeah. So like we take our time.
400 a year.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, and that includes accessories and all the little bits that
400 styles.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then the volume against, like, we might only make probably maximum 200 say,
of each thing.
Of each of those things. So it's not massive, but for us, this is a sustainable way for us to work.
And you're still in control.
Yeah, we're not kind of like flooding the market with anything. No. And we also work to a time frame that we're probably designing 12 to 10 months ahead of when it launches. So we can take the time to be really happy with the design, make sure we get the elements that we really love, that we get the details that are in there that get lost in the other parts of
This is music to my ears. This is absolutely, I feel like we need a little bit of a Lazy Oaf injection into every single brand that exists, because when I'm sat here listening, I'm feeling this kind of, a little bit of goosebumps in a way, because it's refreshing and it's authentic. And those two words don't really sit in the fashion industry. But yet the minute I walked into this space and I've sat here and chatting to you, I can really sense that's exactly what your brand's about. Regardless of what's going on in the world, fashion, you know, like you said, newness, keeping up with the latest. You're like, I don't care. I'm on my zone, my pathway, and I'm going to do it my way. And I think that's why you're successful. I honestly do. 24 years, nearly 25 years. That's a huge achievement. That's fantastic. So, Gem, talking about starting a fast fashion brand, let's talk about like the unglamorous bits.
Yeah.
How do you find that balance between wanting to create newness and create stuff for your community that everybody loves and you want to make money, and then, oh my God, I've got to pay my mortgage? Like, do you ever feel that, can I make ends meet? You know, I want you to be honest and open and transparent, because I think so many graduates think that having their own independent brand isn't viable.
I wish I could say it was really easy.
Yeah.
And I think like I've been doing it so long. So when I started, like the world was very different. Like e-commerce didn't exist.
Of course.
So like, that's why I started on a market store, which was great because I got to test my product and I got to start with the easiest kind of product that I could, which was t-shirts. So I was, and in really small quantities. So what that allowed me to do was like really kind of get to test like what designs worked, what did people like, was I getting the same customers back every week, was my pricing all right? I really got to learn.
Amazing. You could test the market, couldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. And then kind of like really slowly evolve my business over all of this time to, you know, a fashion brand that does things from like mugs to shoes to like.
It's fantastic.
So
where does it end?
Yeah, a lot of diverse products. So I think now you've got lots of opportunities to test market digitally.
Yes.
So you've got kind of like really great merch brands now where you can start off with like blank t-shirts in actually really good shapes that have a sustainable element, that are made out of organic cotton, made in nice places.
Yeah.
And what I always would say is you don't have to start with everything and go, but feel like you have to have hundreds of products or like a massive range of things. I think like it's really important to kind of like start small, make sure you've got a point of difference, get to know who your market is, what makes you different, and why are people going to buy you?
Yes.
What is like your
USP?
Yeah, exactly.
Unique selling points are so important, and that's why storytelling, concept generation, that idea of having a story and having a narrative that people can buy into is so important, isn't it? On that note, do you have a piece that you could show us that's a bit like, if I had to describe Lazy Oaf, this is it?
Right. So I've got some bits.
Oh, Jem, look. Oh, look at these goodies.
Nice little bucket.
Wow. Hello. Imagine being this, my fro. Hiya, love. Hiya. Oh, it's so soft and warm. That is gorge.
Sweet, isn't it?
Wow, amazing.
These are kind of actually, this is kind of like coming out just before Christmas.
Amazing.
But I would say that like as a brand, we're kind of like really well known for like very bright colours.
Right. So did you design that print? How does it work? Do you design all the prints, or do you have a team that design and then you've got to sign it off?
A bit of a mix, actually.
Yeah.
I still really love doing a lot of the print and design for Oaf. We have a small design team who are all really like brilliant. And then we also work with like a network of like creative artists.
Oh wow!
Outside of Lazy Oaf, so we're always on the hunt to find
like little
people,
collaborations and things.
Yeah, that we want to kind of like commission or collaborate on. So we like to kind of like widen that network as much as possible.
Amazing. Because collaboration is key, isn't it, in industry?
Definitely.
You know, like you can't work in silos, and I think that's so important for students to know. Because at universities, there's often a lot of industry projects and cross collaboration between programs, and that's how the industry works. It's so important, isn't it, to collaborate?
Yeah, I think that's like one of the most important. It's one of our core values at Lazy Oaf. Like we have kind of like a little list, but collaboration kind of key to our success. Like working together, like being small teams, you have to wear lots of different
hats, of course.
And that means that you kind of collaboration makes all of that kind of like work together. Yeah. And also collaborating with like external people to your team, and collaborating on projects creatively to create different products.
Yeah,
collaboration is just sort of
everywhere.
An everyday word for us.
Yeah.
Sort of like how we operate by collaborating.
Amazing. And that's often what maybe education doesn't teach you. And that's why doing this series and exposing these creative careers enables the truth to come from the horse's mouth, so the students are aware that absolutely the more you collaborate at university and with brands, etc., and internships, the more set up you are for industry when you graduate, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think that like working independently and working kind of like by yourself is really rare.
It's really rare and hard. Yeah.
And like you need that interaction, you need feedback.
Yeah. Humans need humans, right?
Yeah. And like sometimes it's hard, but sometimes it's so rewarding because you get kind of like maybe challenged in ways that really push you creatively, or to think of something that you wouldn't have
problem solving.
And you've got somewhat like a team or other people to help you problem solve or identify what the potential problems might be and work to that solution. So I love collaboration.
Yeah. Perfect. I want to know what's in this box.
Okay. So just going back to what you were saying about kind of like what makes Lazy Oaf distinctive.
Yes.
It's probably like these little details and things like us. Like we love characters and character design. And this is like a little box of socks for Christmas that we've done as like a veg type box. So we've kind of like, I designed this.
Oh, fantastic. I love it.
So we've got kind of like crate details, and then inside you've got like your different fruits.
Amazing.
Socks. So we have things like strawberry socks.
Oh, wow.
Then have like your little fruit sticker.
Amazing.
We've got carrots. And
fantastic.
There's a bit of debate over what kind of like vegetable this is.
What is it? Cucumber?
I was thinking maybe
pepper?
like a courgette.
Courgette? I love it.
Like, it looks kind of Hulk.
Amazing. I love these. And that's it. I think when I think of Lazy Oaf, the same. I think of it, you know, fun, bright, bold, and the faces. These sort of face, you know, the sad face, smiley face. It's Lazy Oaf, isn't it?
Yeah. And like the happy, sad element like, comes from, like, we've done a lot of work in the past and continue to do on like emotional well-being, mental health awareness, and really against that kind of like pro-positive, toxic positivity outlook. We're called Lazy Oaf, like we're not all like smiles and sunshine. So actually to be able to reflect that, and we do it in like little ways. So like, like the happy, sad elements kind of like appear across everything, because we are sort of like, you know what, we are all of the emotions.
Yeah, of course. And I think it's important to address that. And, you know, the industry is up and down, isn't it? Like you get all this glamorous, and fashion is kind of glamorized, but actually you do get that kind of negative, like bad vibes, sadness around it as well, because it is dog eat dog and it is competitive, and you do have that scrolling mentality of looking through and see what everybody else is doing as well. We've got so much exposure to that now, haven't we? So it's so amazing that you can always pull it back to reality, bring it back, feel grounded through your product. That's amazing. On that point, Gem, I think it's so important to think about how can we teach students to create something real and not just chase that viral moment. You know, there's so many big talking points and on TikTok and, you know, Instagram, and students jump on it and think, oh, if I don't do that, then I'm not going to make it. So how can we teach the students to be authentic, have that USP, especially through youth subcultures and like that authenticity that you've created? What would be your advice to students around that?
As soon as you start trying to be another brand or look like another thing, you know, it's like with your own self, really. You're not, it's very transparent that actually that's transparent. That there's no kind of like depth to that. You have to go on a bit of a journey to discover like what is your authenticity. So being able to connect something to you personally, like what is going to drive you in 12 months time and 10 years time, like what are your connections? So being creative has helped me in my like with my mental health, and it's something that kind of like is almost like a therapy as well as like my job and things like. So I think that kind of like where I can pull that, and I can pull that through in sort of like our messaging and the partners that we work with.
So everything that you do goes back to that point.
I think the same as like all my kind of like reference points and the things that I love, like as a teenager in like growing up in the mid-90s, is still something that I pull through, and nostalgia is really important to Lazy Oaf, and I think that is another big connector. So that I'm kind of like, there'll be elements that really sort of like take you back to a childhood or touch on those elements.
But again, you're talking about concept, storytelling, narrative. It's so important, isn't it, to have those connections.
Something that sort of like gives what you're doing some depth and like helps like tell that story, and that you have a story that is totally believable, because that's what people are going to buy into. They're not going to buy into, oh, because it looks cool. Like that only lasts so long. Having the reasons and that people can honestly believe in those reasons, they're going to back you.
A lot of creatives are trying to be maybe what they're not, but trying to be cool. But like you said, it won't work. You'll soon get discovered. You know, so it's about removing the fakeness and bringing in the authenticity and being true to you, but having those pinpoints that ensure that you can be true to you, whether it be through concepts, colour, print, texture, style, whatever it may be, it's you.
Absolutely.
Gem's, you know, touched here on having to reshape and like rejig and go with the flow, different things that are happening. AI. Digital fashion, technology, whoa, mind blown. What are your thoughts on this?
Like, I wonder if ChatGPT would come up with this.
Oh, look how fun that is! Wow.
If, we put enough prompts in, but AI, yeah, it's gonna be part of our lives. Like, there is absolutely no avoiding it. I am not anti-AI, but I'm not using it to generate my design.
Of course.
Or like the creative stuff. But I do think there's elements that are going to enable us to enhance what we do if we use it in the right way. And I'd love to say like, AI. It's not going to go there, but it's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
We've just got to harness it in
and use it in a way that works for you.
Yeah. It's going to be so obvious to us what is AI generated and what isn't.
Yeah.
And actually, I think people are going to sway to that authenticity.
Yes.
And like
there's going to be a backlash. Yeah.
And the design and the creativity that goes into product versus like, oh, this looks like a copy of 5,000 other things that I've seen all generated through a machine.
Yeah, for sure. So in terms of, creative careers and the future of fashion and where that lies, digital fashion and producing avatars and, cutting back costs on sampling because actually you can make digital samples. What are your thoughts around that?
Like, I hear stories of that already happening within industry.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like taking some steps out and really speeding up the process of design.
Yeah.
And like, maybe that works and maybe there's going to be opportunity because you're going to need humans to generate that and put enough creativity and thought into creating those kind of like digital versions.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting to sort of like understand what the opportunities might be.
Of course.
Within that. Yeah, you need a human for that authentic bit, right?
Yeah.
And to sort of push it because an AI prompt is not.
Also, could maybe AI be used to help design a retail space? So actually not touching it from an authentic design perspective, but it's more so for, something more practical like layout.
Yeah, like 3D renders.
Yes.
Like, what would my pop-up dream
Exactly,
like?
yes.
And like, how would I get all of the key elements of my brand and be able to tell that story but from like an interior?
Yeah, because, visual merchandising is such a huge part of, stores. Maybe that could work from an AI perspective. Talking about that though, like, and protecting your personal headspace, how do you go from that headspace of chaos and, creative, like you're in the midst of it, to also spreadsheets, like the business side and admin side of it, and then your own life, like your own passion, family, friends, social, like that kind of trio? How does that work?
It is something that is like a constant challenge because I am a creative brain. I have to zone my creative work to kind of like that other kind of like deep thinking or business thinking, because it's very hard to do an hour of design or like, I'm just going to draw some worms, to then being like, okay, I've got to build out, I don't know, a 12-month plan. I think it's being able to like plan your time so that you're giving yourself that time to immerse yourself in the creative pursuits.
Yes.
And that you're parking the other time so that you're not conflicting and having to, because you're just not going to get the best of you.
Yeah, totally.
Sort of like pinging back and forth.
For those students that are sort of thinking about potentially carving out their own way once they graduate, what sort of industry roadblocks have you come up against that you have had to, swerve around? I
started Lazy Oaf as a menswear brand and then it quickly became kind of unisex. It was quite a challenge being a girl doing it on her own in an industry full of like blokes, and kind of like being able to convince like the stores that you love to kind of like stock you, the authenticity, the way that I kind of like, I create these things, my message, my story. Like, I should also say that, I didn't start Lazy Oaf with loads of money. I also worked 2 jobs to make it happen.
Yes, exactly.
And, like, lived at home. And like was printing in my dad's garage. So,
so you're a grafter, and that's a lot of what creative students need to be, in order to succeed.
You've got to put the graft in. I definitely describe myself as a grafter, and everyone that works for me is a grafter. And also, like, one of the biggest things is resilience. Like, I've had so many disasters and things go wrong, you wouldn't believe.
But you've got to bounce back. We've got no time to dwell. You've got to be resilient. And that's what I say as well. I think a lot of students are quite precious with their work, and when they hear feedback, it kind of often falls maybe not in the best place. But please always remember that this feedback is only building your resilience, isn't it? It's only going to make you stronger and tougher for this fierce fashion world.
And like it's something that is going to fuel whatever you do next and like your journey. That feedback also, like feedback could be like, it doesn't sell, no one likes it. Like, doesn't mean you fail, it just means you've got something really important to learn from.
Totally.
Like, so why at Oaf we celebrate like mistakes? I think one of the big reasons we've got here is because we failed at stuff. It might be that we've got a spelling mistake on a t-shirt or things that
and you make it the thing. I love it.
Or it's come in the wrong colourway, like it's come at the wrong type. All of these different things, and they're just like minor little like flops and fails. But you're like, okay, what did we do wrong? What could we do better next time? Or actually sometimes what you think might be a bit of a mistake turns out to be
the biggest success. What would you say is your biggest success so far?
There's many sort of like big things that have happened to us that I'm like, I cannot believe my luck. But one of my special ones is being able to collaborate with Dr. Martens. They approached us to do a collaboration. It was so fun to be able to like design my version of Dr. Martens.
And that's nostalgic right there, isn't it? Because obviously, like you said, you've saved up money to buy your own first pair, and then next thing you know, they're coming knocking on your door.
And like to me, it was like, if I could travel back and tell my 15-year-old self, like one day you will design a pair of these.
Oh, that gives me goosebumps.
I'd really love to be able to tell that person.
Oh, that's amazing.
In their future. So I think for me that was like really special.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
What a beautiful way to end a beautiful conversation. And the sun's just come out for us as well. Gem, I can't thank you enough for your time this morning. All your words are so inspiring. You're such a force in the industry. Starting in your dad's garage, printing t-shirts, to now owning the most wonderful, positive, fun, colourful brand. Thank you so much.
It's been lovely to chat to you.
You've made my week, and the students are going to be so inspired. I know they are. So thank you.
I hope so. Yay. Thank you.